Now, speaking of funding coming from Europe and what's going on there, the IMF put out its World Economic Outlook this week, all very interesting. Here's Chief Economist Olivier Blanchard.
Things have quieted down since, but an uneasy calm remains. One has the feeling that at any moment things could well get very bad again.
It's interesting that every time the IMF puts out its World Economic Forecast, front page news, you know, here we go, new forecasts, but they're always wrong, of course.
It's like Paris Hilton. It's long on headlines, short on importance. When you consider you've got an economics team, like any other broking economics team, covering 187 countries, working off the same information that everybody else has, but in less detail, and here we are, pouring all over what they're saying. It's the same as the World Bank and all those other independent economists.
I think there's
more noise.
There's skittishness about sovereign credit. So I think to look at the market impact around bonds, you know, the Spanish and the Italians this week have had Spanish struggled to get away a bond issue. 10-year yields are now up around 5.9. You know, the Germans are 1.7, and we did a $700 million issue at 3.9 on Wednesday. So you can really see that different pricing, and I do think the IMF is important with those trillions of sovereign bonds out there.
Just not their economic forecast.
No, not the growth forecast.
But leaving aside the IMF, I mean, where does the market sit at the moment? It seems to be going around. It's around about 4,400, and there's lots of different influences. Europe's one of them. China.
Stuck at 4,400, and you sort of get the idea all the market's not doing anything. But actually, we're always a tale of three cities: industrials, financials, resources. Since that Chinese GDP forecast, remember that downgrade in February, I think it was. Since that time, resources have underperformed banks by 9%. There's plenty going on in the market, but the index is just averaging out at not doing anything at the moment. And the game at the moment is banks ahead of the results season that's coming up and buying for the dividends. And China's still in decline, despite the fact everybody at the moment has a buy recommendation on BHP and Rio. China's still a problem. And the market is now determined, for some reason, to see the glass as half empty again on Europe, because Spanish bonds are under 6%. It's critical when they get to 7%, and they're not at 7%. They're not at a critical stage in Italy or Spain, yet we're making a massive fuss about it. It's all just market
getting pretty close, though, isn't it? And I think, wasn't it, you know, tragic situation when it got to just over 6% in Greece?
No, it's 7% when they can't fund themselves.
3, we're 3.7. The Americans are under 2. So once you get to 6 on trillions, it's a lot of bucks.
It is
2.15 trillion. Yeah, but it's a question of whether they can finance it. Plus, the other thing is the European Central Bank hasn't actually bought any on-market bonds in Italy or Spain, so they haven't been holding yields down. And when yields get to 6.6% or something like that, where they consider it a bit critical, they'll start buying again, hold it down. So we've got quite a bit of leeway before we really start worrying about Spain.